Did you have a specific audience in mind, or was there a specific moment or experience that prompted you to write a coming of age story? Because that's how I read this book.
Right. So when I when I had first the idea, that was September 2022. Um, I had an idea of writing something about the school, and at the time I was thinking of the title. My working title then was called First Bench, and it was really focusing, highlighting the brightest students in the class who sit on the first bench. And I was thinking about that, but I didn't really start writing, putting it on paper or on the PC for about good 6 months. When it started, I switched immediately because I was struck by one question that came to me as a better story, which is there's always the people who strive hard and become the first top ranked students who succeed in life in that way. But I always thought, what happened to the people, to the rest of the class? People especially who are in the sit in the back bench or last bench, so to speak, and they're not necessarily the eye of the in the eyes of the teachers as their favorite students. They're relegated to the back bench because they're not either bright or not academically good. But I was all fascinated by I wanted to explore how do they succeed. And so when I started thinking about it, a lot of things went back to my own growing up in that area, in the timeline, 1977. And everyone in those days was, um, you study hard, and you should become a doctor or an engineer. So I was bringing that into the theme to see, are there any other professions, other things that people are good at just as equally, or if not better, and shine in their lives, and not these stereotype professions that were on the forefront in those days.
Okay, from you kind of answered my next question, but I know that you were brought up in Bangalore and it was kind of in the 70s, but you used Bangalore and 1977 as the golden year, and chose to write about that particular year. Was something particularly meaningful for you to choose that setting? I know they say that writers write best when they write about what they know. So I guess that's part of it. But can you talk to that?
But year 97, I knew that I wanted to write in the 70s. And I will come back to why I wanted to write in the 70s. But the 77 kind of stood out because that was also the same year that I graduated from a high school. So yeah, I could see the school and other things and all that at the time. And going back, we were very young. We didn't know what was going on, but you know, we had moved to the Bangalore in exactly 1970. There was, I mentioned in my novel too, Pakistan war that happened in 1970 for a brief period of time. Um, but there was also the emergency period in the 1975 timeline, and I thought that I always felt that right after the emergency period and all that, that there was one big flood of big bright students that passed and did a lot of things and just exploded on the globe in every forefront, technology, medicine, or any endeavor. It just exploded. I think of that generation. Of course, then the digital generation and all that followed later on. But that particular generation, I thought, did post independence, the second generation, so to speak. Um, and I chose that timeline also because everybody I knew growing up in that area, they were equally in the same boat. Nobody was rich. Everybody was in the same economic situation in as a community. But there was a lot of bonding in that time frame. Yeah, my wife Jeannie, when she read the novel, she couldn't believe that someone would just jump in and help somebody like that. It was inconceivable to her. Is that really in character, Raf? So by that unconditional friendship was one of the themes of my book, is that you didn't think, you didn't question other people, their motivation or anything. When people came to you, you just helped them. And it was the same way my mom and dad, everybody did that in our neighborhood. So it was one big extended family, so to speak. Everybody had less, but somehow collectively seem to have more. So I kind of, once I started writing the stories, this particular Vicky as the protagonist and trying to help his friend and try to find out who his dad is, and he's got his own little things about getting his cricket shoes and things like that. There are big things and little things, from a small point of view, but he still sees that world and around him, which I hope it captured that,